You know, the other day, I had an interesting conversation with someone, and they brought something to my attention. You know, that when she was talking, she brought something to my attention. People believe that God put curses on man, had put curses on man throughout history, and He continues to put a curse upon man when they do wrong or when they disobey His rules. And then, as she was explaining this to me, that a pastor was speaking about this and how I started thinking about it. I said, God, do you really curse people? And I began just to think about all the different things in history of the Bible that taught us. Like when when Adam sinned, God cursed. It was a curse put on man and a curse put on woman. When David sinned, it was a curse put on his household. When Moses sinned, he was not able to go into the promised land. Now Jesus says, Paul already declared that the wages of sin is death. You know that. That when one sins, death is the answer. And understand something. The Bible talks about God makes it clear in the Old Testament and also in the New Testament about two profound people. One by Solomon and one by James. And a lot of apostles reiterated the fact. The power to tell is life and death. Blessings and curses should not come from the same mouth. They should not be amongst you. If God is to curse man from his own mouth, when He curses man, wouldn't that curse remain there? Wouldn't it be impossible for anybody, even Jesus Himself, to lift up a curse off of man? Because Isaiah makes it clear. He says that God's word, when it's sent forth, brings back results. God does not go back on His word. He does not go back on His word in no form or fashion, no matter what happened, because He already knows. Hebrews 4:3 makes it clear. He knows everything already. God made it clear to me on Monday that He never cursed Adam and Eve. But because of their sin, He made it clear to them what was going to happen. See, sin carries a consequence. I call this the cause and effect. You hear the phrase before, pressure busts pipes. The cause is what? Pressure is in the pipes. The effect of the pressure in the pipe will cause the pipe to explode. That's the effect. But the effect can only happen if the cause is happening, which is the pressure is in the pipe. Or pressure in the pipe to bust it. God says, listen, I never curse man from my lips. Because if I curse man, do you honestly believe that I will go back on my word? And she began to iterate it more clearly to me that, not telling this out, but says that, when God starts something, He doesn't stop until it's complete. I find that very intriguing. Because that is true. But if God cursed man, wouldn't that be His plan? Wouldn't He go completely through with it? Wouldn't it be impossible for God to even go back on His word? He's not a man that He should lie. He told Samuel, I do not look as man look. I look on the inward appearance of a man, not on the outward appearance. God wanted me to know something. He said, Paul, I only can speak out good things out of my mouth. Blessings and curses do not flow from my mouth, because I told you that the tongue holds the power of life and death. If you look through the Bible and look at your life, and you look out through the world, a lot of people say, well, God has punished me for my sin. God has punished me for this and that. Well, technically, He's really not. Your sin is punishing you. Your sin is punishing you. Yes, God chastises His children, and He punishes those who are His enemies. That clearly states in the Bible. But if you understand why chastisement and punishment happens, it's due to the fact of man's sin. When you sin, like for instance, if I murder someone, that's a sin. God said, Paul, I'm going to forgive you, but still I must deal with the results of my sin of murder, which will land me in prison, probably facing the death penalty, probably facing life, probably facing 30 to 50 years, probably facing 15 years, depending on what kind of murder they charge you with. Even though I committed a sin, God is not punishing me. My sin is punishing me because I did it. God says to David that the sword should not leave your house. God wasn't cursing David that the sword should leave your house. God was telling you, David, you committed this sin, so this is going to happen to you because you've done this. The consequences of our sin. He made it clear that Satan is the accuser of the brethren, and day and night he accuses us in front of God. All you gotta do is read Zechariah chapter 3. And here Zechariah speak of the chief Joshua, and I was saying continue to try to accuse him in front of God. God does not allow curses to flow from his mouth. God has never cursed nothing. Because once God says something, it's final. Jesus himself cannot lift it. The Spirit of God cannot lift it, nor can God himself lift it. It said that when God makes promises, he cannot swear upon no other name besides his own. God honors his word and he honors his name above all things. God can only speak blessings. And we as Christians should follow the same standards. Stop believing that God is cursing you because of your sin. He's not. It felt like God's punishing you. It felt like your whole world's coming down and God is the one directing it, but it's not. It's your sin. God said, listen, I will forgive you. I will give you grace. I will give you mercy. I will comfort you, but you still have to deal with this so that you can learn from it. David lived with that mess when he did it with Bathsheba and her husband. He lived with that until his deathbed. God never took it from David, but he gave David grace and mercy to deal with it. He comforted David when David felt like it was no hope. Adam, when he sinned, he knew that man was going to need a savior to help him, and he sent his son. Stop saying God is cursing you. Stop saying God is punishing you. Stop saying that God is only that to you. Because God said that would not be true. God does not curse no individual. You may say, well, what about Saul in the Bible? Didn't God send an evil spirit upon him? No, God removed his hand from Saul, and Satan began to deal with him. He gave Satan authority to deal with him. God never cursed Saul. Because Satan Saul got back into his right mind and realized that he needed to ask God for forgiveness and turned his other way. Would God be able to save him if God sent a curse upon him? It's impossible. Stop saying that God is punishing you. Stop saying that God is he has cursed you, he has cursed your womb. None of that is true. And if it is true, make me a liar. But I believe down deep in my heart that the Bible states that God speaks only positive things about us. Only positive things about us. But our sin leads to consequences. And we need to understand that and stop blaming God.